Hi, vibrations, sweet babies. How are we? So, I am recording this right before a full moon. I'm feeling like there's a message that's wanting to come through for us, friends. And I'm really curious what that message is. So before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Hannah, aka Bunny, on the internet spaces. I'm a professional model. I'm a mindset and life coach, and I also am into all things trippy, psychedelic, woo-woo, mystical, outlandish, you name it. So, okay, I really wanted to feel into this energy because just yesterday I shared a reading. You may or may not have heard it. I encourage you to listen to it regardless of when you're finding it, because I think it is insightful to anybody in our collective who is looking to find a little bit of direction, a little bit more clarity, or just a little bit more insight if you've been following along sort of a sequential journey. We've all been on our own individual journey, but collectively, we've all been really experiencing a lot of beautiful lessons and mindsets, experiences, and I think it really just speaks to the human experience, right? Like, we can all be from different walks of life, all have very different experiences in life, and yet we can all have some deep relational reactions to what one another is going through. So before I go ahead and shuffle the cards, pull some cards for us, I think there is some significance in the idea of a message wanting to come through. So we're having a full moon in Gemini. Mercury has just gone direct a couple days ago, and it's feeling very like funky fresh right now. That I don't know, I just feel like information, communication, there might have been some, I want to say like there was information. Somebody is interested in what you're up to. Somebody is keeping up with what you're up to. I did speak on some similar ideas. I think it was during the Mercury retrograde, talking about like digital boundaries, social media, and whoa, the card boundaries just flew out as soon as I began shuffling. I'm seeing where this message might be going, my friends. Okay, so first and foremost, it's definitely a good idea to work some beautiful fucking powerful magic during this full moon in Gemini. I feel like it's really going to be a good time for you to just sit and think. That's my advice for you. I don't even have to pull the cards. Just sit and think. Think about what you've learned, what you're going through, and more specifically, what you want to really put your intention, energy, and focus around as we go towards this next 12/12 portal. So, there's definitely an energy here as if Spirit is recognizing and signifying that there has been a journey that you've been taking and that you have been on. Yeah, right here. So, a globe, the world card, seeing a globe might be symbolic for you at this time. Flamingos are definitely an indicator or a symbol for you at this time. So, all right. I have not been really listening to any other readers or astrologers or anything. So I'm really just kind of feeling into the energy here from spirit, from my spirit team, connecting to your spirit team. I'll have my people call your people. Okay, so what is the collective needing to hear for this full moon in Gemini? What is the collective really needing clarity, or not even clarity, just what is the collective needing for this full moon? Okay. So, right off the bat, fives are very significant here. 555. So this is indicating a really significant change. Something 1212. Let it out. Venus. All right. So, I'm shuffling with you right in here and right now. I don't always do that, but I wanted to today because I was really going into this reading very open-minded, like very unsure of what I was going to uncover as I started shuffling the cards. I always love that when I like truly pull everything that I want to pull, the message is like it just is there and it lands. Beautiful. Okay, so boundaries came out first. This full moon is really a time for you to consider everything you know. With everything that you know, everything that you have thought, been through, experienced, all the possibilities, all the obstacles, the long journey ahead, the long journey you've been on, everything considered, like, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to do? Okay, so I feel as though I really want to like let go of the idea of Gemini, because I do feel like there is some other astrological transits that are playing into this energy during this time of this full moon. So more specifically, I want to speak to the overall like collective energy. And I really encourage you to go listen to my last reading for December 3rd, because it kind of feels like a continuation from that message, because it really feels like when you really pulled back your energy, when you really sat with yourself, when you really called your power back, or if you haven't, as you do this, you're going to really see like what you've been slacking on, to be quite honest. What have you not had good boundaries around that has limited your possibilities, or actually just kind of created obstacles for yourself in your possibilities, in your potential, and more specifically what would keep doors open or would close doors, etc., etc. It also has a lot to do with your good fortune, and this could be in the form of money, and this could also be in the form of luck. Very, very clearly, this is a reading about what needs to change. There is an energy here, an underlying energy of like a divine change that you've probably been long undergoing under so many beautiful astrological transits, you know, different beautiful angel number portals that I think are just super high vibrational energy work times that should not be taken for granted. And ultimately, you've really taken your journey seriously. You've been very committed to your journey. You've also been very committed to stability. Now, this is showing up for us in the cards in all the ways. This is stability when it comes to relationships, like romantic relationships. I'm seeing long-term commitment. I'm seeing marriage. I'm seeing like you want your happily ever after. I'm also seeing that stability to you means being in a solid family structure in whatever way that shows up. I will say that it does seem like there were some father wounds in your life and in your history, or maybe in your current experience, that might be shaping this idea for you a little bit more concrete at the moment. Exactly like concrete. Stability is also showing up as a foundation and a home environment. What I mean is like in your 3D world, where you are able to put roots in the ground and build a foundation for yourself. What is your home environment like right now? I see that all of these meanings, it's like very much root chakra, very root center, grounding, getting yourself really rooted and solid in who you are, but not even who you are. It's like this is like a glowing red root center reading, truly. I think that there was some changes that really needed to be made or need to be made in order for you to connect to this root center healing that I'm seeing. More specifically, it's really like the focus of the energy for this full moon. So if this hasn't started showing up for you already, it may start showing up for you on the full moon. You know, people always talk about how full moon brings out the crazies, you know, the freaks come out for the full moon. I think there's something to that, and I think it has a lot to do with people who are consciously working with the energies in their life, or people who are just very unconsciously walking through their life, not able to harness and make sense of the shifts and the ebbs and the flows. You, my friend, are the person who is able to work with the groove, you know, the shifts, and not let it completely throw you off course, at least now. Maybe in the past that's not the case, but at least now. You've been in a really beautiful journey. I cannot stress this enough. There's a lot of emphasis here on being on some kind of journey, whether this is spiritual, whether it's a healing journey, a journey to understanding yourself better, a journey towards maybe fatherhood. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting feelings of like a really deep, profound, I don't know why I said fatherhood too. It feels like there is a lot of masculine energy in this reading. You could be thinking about growing a family, if you're somebody who, you know, identifies as a mother, a parent, regardless. But what does that mean from you? What does that actually mean from you? What needs to change in order for you to create this sort of real solid root foundation that you are needing and healing right now? So first things first, there are a couple indications here of, oh yeah, lots of family indications actually, of somebody making risky, dicey choices. This is it. I'm going to just be honest. Spirit is saying this is the thing that this collective who is listening to this audio is really needing to work through. This is what they're needing to work through. Making these risky choices, impulsive choices, not thought out choices. And I'm also just going to keep it 100 because I don't think it does anybody any good to beat around the bush here. Like, you're here for your reading from your spirit team, so here it is. You have vices. There are vices in your life that have made an influence on the types of choices that you make. You have vices that impact your finances, whether it's like your choices that you're making, you're very impulsive, or you like to shop, or whatever it is impacting your finances. But more so in specific, and here's the thing, this all ties together, because when your finances are low, you don't feel like you can provide the life that you want for yourself, which causes you to make more risky, problematic choices. Okay? I see that, when your finances are not where you want them to be, you worry about your stability. Your root center becomes completely ungrounded. You struggle with making good choices, and maybe in particular, boundaries. Okay? So right now in the cards, it says return to sender. It's really time for you to protect your energy, to call your energy back to yourself. Okay? Yes, I think it's really significant for you to continue cutting cords. I have been suggesting this to the collective, so if you haven't been doing this yet, I really recommend you do this under the full moon. Full moons are beautiful, beautiful times for release and letting go, letting out your gratitude, letting out your praise, and it literally right here in the cards, let it out. So this is a time for you under this particular full moon to really cut cords and let go of whatever things are right up against that boundary of problematic decisions, risky decisions. And this is going to show up. So even if your decisions aren't inherently around money, listen to this. Even if your decisions are not inherently around money, if they are risky and uncalculated and they push and break boundaries, it will show up in your money. Okay? I'm telling you this. Spirit is not fucking around right now. Spirit is warning you that if you keep playing around with your boundaries, Spirit, in a sense, listen, your spirit team wants you to learn lessons and grow. It's never from a malicious way that you're going to be challenged or have to face obstacles. But the way that you handle your abundance, it is a direct reflection of your self-worth. And your self-worth dictates how the universe provides for you. I worked with a beautiful, beautiful soul who was really fantastic around money energetics. And one of the beautiful metaphors that she shared with my coaching team, my coaching cohorts and clients that I worked with, was you want to think about money as your lover. How do you want your money to provide for you like a lover? If you're getting all this abundance and all of this beautiful blessings and flow in one area, but you're focused on how you want your income to be somewhere else, and you're just never being grateful, and you're never really showing your appreciation or realizing wow, I'm able to pay my rent, I'm able to have my fridge full, my children have clothes that fit them, then money's gonna be all right, well, clearly you can't see me. Clearly you don't sense my existence. Clearly you are not in harmony with my frequency. So look into that. How are you treating things in your life? And this doesn't just go for money. This goes for abundance in all forms, blessings. I'm seeing someone prayed for this. I also see eagle. Prayers will be answered. So something deeply meaningful, something abundant, something that is very prayerful that is existing in your life may not be getting enough recognition, or you may have a tendency to handle your blessings without care. Okay, you may have a tendency to always be interested in pushing the boundaries and making risky decisions. And listen to this very carefully. There may be a history of some toxic patterns, some cycles, some problems with finances, addiction, gambling, etc. And you handling your blessings with the same callousness is the same thing as having a gambling addiction. You're making choices that put everything you've worked hard for at bay. You are making decisions that self-sabotage all of the success that you rightfully deserve and have created on your own in, collaboration with the divine. The divine sees this as a betrayal. I'm going to be honest. That sort of behavior is seen as a betrayal. Okay? Because you have gone on such a beautiful journey to evolve into someone who can literally be in receptivity mode to call in all of the beautiful manifestations and things that you've aligned with. And what do I always say? If you have the vision, it's because it is meant for you. You are not going to be given a vision, a dream, a manifestation, an idea that you are not actually able to create. How many of these things have you actually poured that much energy into? I'm seeing you really prayed for something specific. This seems like I said, long-term stability. I see like there's also this, just this solid rock foundation, unwavering, that's the sort of energy. It's just this everlasting stability that goes on and on and on. Something that's like you are anchored into the life that you've always wanted for yourself. Long-term commitments. I'm seeing family. I'm seeing like a really beautiful white picket fence sort of life, if I'm being honest. But this is going to really require you to open up your heart. And it's also going to require you to do a lot of cord cuttings in relationships, in people that... I'm just going to say this. It is a very deep, beautiful lesson you're learning through this process. And it's something that begins to show up gradually over time. Sometimes we just feel this inclination in our body to let someone out of our lives. Let them go. Let them, cut them off, cut cords. This could be any kind of relationship too. This could be a friend. This could be a business partner, whatever. And you have to just trust in that, right? And then when you trust in that, maybe not immediately, but eventually, there's this realization of how much energy was freed up. And it might not even be like physical energy, like, oh my God, I have so much like more, I don't feel so drained. I'm not mentally like worn out, or whatever it is that experience or person or interaction, relationship dynamic might have been doing to you. But it might have literally freed up energy like in your entire life, in your entire atmosphere, that allowed for some of the things that you've been praying for to actually manifest, to actually take shape. So when you are learning this lesson of cutting energetic cords, and like I said, this can be to people, this can be business relationships, this can be, old habits, right? This can be like literally what we're talking about. Cutting ties with whatever it is that is just like not respecting your boundaries, or like you're not living within the boundaries that you or another person set. Whatever it is going to really teach you a deep and powerful lesson about how to actually get everything you've always wanted, and realizing how much possibility there is for you. And I see here a long, beautiful journey towards something so unwavering. It's like something that can't be taken from you. It's something solid. It's something grounding. It's something fruitful. It's abundant. It's fortunate. I see that here in the cards. I almost am getting like a little wink from Spirit saying, baby, you are going to have everything you dreamed of, right? Here's a gentle reminder that you were given those dreams, those visions. Like literally you could have had a dream one time about the home you're going to live in. Or maybe you were like going for a drive and you were like, I feel like I'm meant to live on this. Like you were not given those inclinations and those moments for nothing. Those were real moments for you to clarify where it is you really want your life to go. You've had beautiful blessings in your life, and the divine is surely able to provide more of those blessings in your life. But that means you're going to probably continue bumping into your own fears, your own limiting beliefs, your own toxic habits, cycles, patterns. So what do you need to really recognize and let it out, return to sender, cut the cord? What is this risky bumping into boundaries, toying with like, you know, that fine line, it feels like, and just making those very, you know, it's a kind of a gamble. And you know what's crazy is that a lot of cards came out to speak on this. You know, what is actually worth the risk? Take a second. If you're somebody who's very go, 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 maybe doesn't like stop to think, maybe you're a little impulsive here, like the cards are kind of suggesting, what if you stop before you made any kind of decision, at least temporarily, until it becomes a habit or a mindset, and ask yourself, is this worth the risk? Because you might think that, you know, you've learned a lot of lessons, you've become a more evolved person, that you're on the right track, and all of that is absolutely 110% true. But it doesn't, there's almost this air of like, you're not done yet, buddy. Like, you're not finished yet here, friend. Like, you still have some more cycles that you need to break. And it seems here that it is regarding the father wound. I see by the time of the next new moon, so we're having our full moon, so by the next new moon, there's going to be some like shake, rattle, and roll and changes in this. This is going to require you to really open up the heart and come from the heart, to sit, pause, and reflect on what it is you were praying for. Truly, what is it that you've always prayed for? Not just in the last like year, not just in the last month since you made your vision board, but like, what have you always been praying for? And what are the things that you need boundaries on to actually make this possible, to stop creating unnecessary obstacles? I'm seeing you're like, you are making this journey that has already been so difficult, like a lot more of a journey for you, when it doesn't have to be like this far off grand quest. A lot of the things that you've wanted and prayed for are, I'm seeing like kind of materializing, like they're moving towards the 3D. So how are you going to really cut the cords, cut the ties, cut the shit, quite frankly, is what I think Spirit would like to have been able to say, but I don't have a card that says that. Because I do see that there is some element to somebody figuring themselves out in a way. There's still some sort of like, you know what, I am gonna pull another card on this. What are you figuring out? Okay. Something around the home life is very significant. It's gonna really, I feel like it's gonna move mountains in your feelings of stability and feelings of foundation. Yeah, something here about putting something at a distance from yourself. Yep, cycles. Yep, we were talking about all of this. Yeah, so you need to put yourself at a distance from whatever this cycle is here with your blessings. This might be particular. Okay, I'm getting it. So Spirit is saying, like, around all the things, honey, all the things, like, you're getting blessing after blessing after blessing because you did the work, you're worthy and deserving inherently the first breath you take, right? Even before then. But you have also been somebody who has not always made the best choices. You're human. You've been on a journey to work through some of these parts of yourself that you know have caused problems in the past. You want more for yourself. You want deeper connections. You want more abundance. You want a bigger home. You want more stability. Good for you. Yes, you're worthy and deserving. Not just because, you know, you did the work, but because you as a person, a human on earth, are deserving to be happy and loving and joyful. And anything that takes you away from that, take yourself away from that. There is a really big indication here of needing to be at a distance and cutting cords, really leaving something in the past. Spirit is emphasizing that your blessings are showing up in many ways. It's showing up through mind, body, and spirit. It is showing up in a multitude of ways because you are worthy and because you are deserving. But the cards also say that fate and karma are very much intertwined in all of it, all your stuff. So you're, yes, in the same hand, you're fated to experience all of your dreams, your goals, everything you've been working towards, and your blessings. But at the same time, you have to recognize this journey you're on has a lot to do with balance, karmic balance, okay? And if we're talking about the idea of karma, I know it's very deep and in depth, and it talks about lifetimes. I'm well aware of that. But you here working to live your best life, to energetically be in tune and in flow with your life, there is still a recognition of the karmic balance that exists. Notice this, okay, friends? If you have a second in your mind where you're like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Hey, friend, ask yourself, what's the mantra? Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk? You've made too many, I'm just going to say it. Spirits offered you blessings many times in the past. You've had to lose it all. You've had to lose it all, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. I'm seeing, friends, like you've lost a lot in your life, and you have now turned the tides of fortune in your favor. And Spirit is saying, what do you need to stop doing? What boundaries need to be in place? What boundaries need to be respected? What things need to be cut ties with or put at a distance, right? In order for you to realize it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. Yes, you will always be in the hands of the divine. Yes, you will always be guided on your path. Yes, you will always be taken care of. But you still have a huge part in this. You still have a huge influence in how many obstacles and how difficult you make this for yourself. Yeah, I'm seeing that, like, you're right now, by your choices and your decisions, you're deciding the distance between you and everything you've ever wanted. That's it. That's it. That's so fucking it, friends. Like, I love that. I love that for me, because that means that if I'm making intentional actions, if I'm living with integrity, you know, if I'm following a divinely led path, that distance is fucking around the block. You know what I mean? Like down the street. 2 minutes down the road. You know, like, but if I'm making risky, dicey choices, if I'm betraying boundaries that I set for myself, or I'm pushing boundaries, I'm not respecting the boundaries or the balance in my life, you know, that distance, that could be, you know, from the East Coast to West Coast. That could make the distance, you know, a 24-hour drive. Months if you wanted to backpack it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have been given so much beautiful lessons, opportunities to grow, and the divine at this point trusts in you to take on this journey in a really beautiful and powerful way, and to not repeat the cycles of your past, not repeat the cycles of maybe patterns in your family, and to really, really open up your heart. Cycles are ending. Cycles are going to continue to end because, like I've said before, you may have been somebody who's lost a lot in your life, and that doesn't come without some challenges or difficulties or, you know, circumstances outside of our control sometimes. And at the end of the day, I see that, you know, prayers are being answered. Growth has been made. You know, manifestations are materializing for you. Blessings, abundance, opportunities, doors have opened for you when they were supposed to be locked. That's what Spirit just made very clear in my mind's eye. Doors have opened for you that you were almost sure were locked. This wasn't coincidence. This was not coincidence. This was divine, right? So now you need to figure out what boundaries you need to respect and set in your life. What things have you been making risky, problematic choices? Again, this could be addictions, vices, gambling, finances. This behavior is a direct influence on how stable you feel in your day-to-day life, your home environment, your relationships, everything that is the root center. There's been a lot of talk about the root for us collective in the last year. I'm curious how that's going to show up for us. So last things last is that, like, you know, like I said, somebody might be trying to have a conversation with you. This conversation might speak to exactly the lessons that are being talked about here in this reading and shared with us from Spirit. So just consider that. Just stay open to that. That there might be a conversation that comes up, or a conversation that someone is wanting to have with you. And Spirit is saying, be patient. Just try to be patient. It literally says just a few more months to go. Good things come to those who wait. So it's kind of like distance is more so about time distance versus like physical distance for some of us. But for some of us, maybe it is a physical distance that this is speaking to, like a prayer, manifestation, revolving around distance. Regardless, what I'm seeing here is that good things come to those who wait. So this is something good. Like, you are going to constantly be in flow and resonating at the vibration of the things you want and you need, as long as you're respecting your path, as long as think of the boundaries on your path like your way to stay in alignment. You know, it's not there to block you from your familiar versions of fun or your comfort zone or whatever. It's there to keep you on a path towards what you've been praying for and always wanted. But for some of you, I feel like maybe you've thought that this was just never going to be your reality, that it was just something you were never going to actually be able to manifest. So for some of you, I'm gonna just say it here again. I apologize. Sagittarius season has, you know, encompassed my being, and I'm just in my full truth right now. But because you never actually believed that you could have some of the things that you dreamed and prayed for. That when it shows up in your life, there might be a little element of fear. You might be a little bit scared that you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to handle it or whatever. But not only that, there's this self-sabotage gamble behavior that shows up because you feel like you're not actually able to handle it, keep it, retain it, sustain it, etc., because you never believed you were going to have it in the first place. Some of you might even think, well, this isn't really it. Maybe this is just like something, you know, it'll be nice while it lasts, or this is going to be good. But this is not the case. You have a lot of beautiful things, foundational things manifesting, and what Spirit is asking of you is to build from this. Build from this. Do not betray your boundaries. Do not go betray your journey or what's possible for you, quite frankly. Do not gamble with these things, because you're about to see, if you consciously move through this journey, I know it's something you're still figuring out very deeply, but there's a lot of potential here. And I see that you're looking to build with somebody. This is something you want to do with another person. You want to build and you want to grow and you want to take on this journey together. And that requires you to stay within boundaries even more so, right? Let's be honest. Like, and when you're no longer taking a journey by yourself, like I said, any kind of relationship, romantic, business, friendship, etc., you have to respect and honor what that journey looks like for the both of you. And this is actually really beautiful, because what I'm seeing in the cards is that, like, you guys are going to figure it out together. I really see that there is this indication that, like, somebody in your life either is going to be in your life or is with you in your life that really wants to figure things out with you together. They want to be there for this. They want to see those cycles break. They want to go whatever distance it is with you. Like, they are down for the possibilities. And I also see that there's a lot of different things that you guys might be expecting, or a lot of different things that yeah, it just seems like there's just this feeling of figuring things out together. And ultimately, it's going to take being very open-hearted. It's going to take a lot of putting those boundaries into place and sticking to them, not allowing your cycles to create obstacles for you, trusting in what's possible for you. And I see that, like, you know, there's a lot of really beautiful things that are going to come forward from this. So the main thing here is to really stay in a place of receptivity. Stay in that place, okay? Stay in that place of being ready to get wined and dined. This, I don't think this is necessarily specifically from the other person, although that would be nice, right? I see this more so as like the universe. I see this more so as the divine being like, get ready to actually have everything you've always wanted. And no, it's not a prank. No, it's not a joke. No, it's not some like brief moment of happiness that's gonna slip through your fingers and be taken away from you. This is not that. Now that Spirit has told you this, and you probably know this too. You feel like, okay, it's been a long time coming. I've done my best out here. When's it going to be everything I always knew I could have? When is that coming? Spirit is saying good things come to those who wait. It's close. And more specifically, what you do through this 12/12 portal, and you know, I think this is really what you're able to reflect on, and the energy that you're kind of feeling through and moving through under this full moon. You have a lot of say in this matter. You have a lot of power in this matter from here on out. In the past, you may have not felt that was the case. You may have felt powerless, but now you are in a space of feeling like, okay, I can see how my risky decisions, you know, I might have gambled away things that were actually good for me, or I can see that, you know, some of my decisions were really risky and, you know, that really bit me in the ass. I lost everything, you know. I can see how I was a little bit impulsive and I said yes to things that I should have said no about, and now I need to have better boundaries. These are lessons that are literally shaping the path for you to have everything you've been praying for. Okay, your journey's not over. There's still a lot of beautiful blessings to experience and materialize. I think there's a lot of love to be had. I think there's a lot of connection. I think there's a lot of stability and growth and abundance. I think that you're now going to, and I'm kind of giving a spoiler because I think this is something that needs to have a separate reading, but I see I always feel like I'm not supposed to say it, but like, Spirit is getting you ready to now understand what it what it's like to go on a journey that you've been on alone for a very long time with another person. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, healing. Yeah, I think Spirit is about to have you in a place where you don't ever have to feel alone ever again. Like, this whole journey that you've been on towards manifesting what you need and what you want in your dream life, you're realizing that you're about to have a lot of help along the way, that you're going to have somebody there on that journey with you. But I'm not going to go into any of that right now. This beautiful full moon is really a lesson of, you know, what are we able to do for ourselves that stops sabotaging our blessings? How are we making risky choices? What boundaries do we need to have? What things do we need to cut off? What things do we need to let out of our life? Let it out of our life. This might need to be through words, through conversation, or this is just something that needs to be done energetically in your spirit. Pray about it, pray on it if you need to, but trust in your divine path, respect your own boundaries so that you can finally have all of the beautiful things that you've known you were meant to have them. Life just really took a lot of twists and turns. You've lost a lot in your life, but that does not mean that you're not meant to have the beautiful things that you've prayed for. So I'm sending you all my love in, and I'll talk to you soon.